have passed on. They said we are wasting our time, that we will never succeed, it will never catch on. By me, that is nothing they will do to me, not today, not tomorrow. That will make me to abandon Biafra is impossible. When we started to remember our heroes that have passed on, they said we are wasting our time, that we will never succeed, it will never catch on. But they keep forgetting one simple thing, that the foundations of IPOB was anchored on the promise of Chukwukika Biama. Yes. That this very noble family, this very great movement was not instigated nor started by any human being. It is the handiwork of Chukwukika Biama. And that is why we remain indestructible. That is why we remain indivisible. That is why nobody, no matter who you are, can dent our resolve and our determination to restore Biafra in this life.
Man from the heavens, that's what you are. Man from the heavens.
And you were now Basozioma Chineke. Okay, Zipazo. Will you be a no? Devo Mahi. Ifani Ugwani. These are the people that the Fulanese gave to you to rule over you. They started it with Ohaneze in 1976. Every leader you have had until the coming of IPOB, anybody who's ever stood up to proclaim the defense of our people, we are planted there by the Fulani North. But you wouldn't know. That is why when they close down Iguacha Seaport, they will not speak. That is why when they close Enugu Airport, you don't hear anybody saying anything. That is why Calabar Seaport is not functioning. That is why Warri Seaport is not opened. That is why we are being forced to travel abroad. That is why no industries are opened in our land. Because they have an agenda. They have a plan. They want to depopulate our land. They want to demoralize us. They want to decimate us. They want to render us hopeless and useless.
God forbid. Abomination forever.
But IPOB said no. Chukwukika Biama that set up IPOB said no. And that is why we must remain resolute and determined. That is why we must not falter. Doubt nor allow resolute. Yes, we must remain determined. Yes, because one thing is certain. As night follows day, so shall Biafra be restored. Yes. Therefore I say unto all of you gathered here today, that the forces fighting IPOB is many. Those that want us to fail are more powerful than we are. They are more resourceful than we are. They have more money than we do. And they are determined to keep us as their slaves. But it will never happen. Those chains of bondage and of slavery has been broken by IPOB.
Forever.
That is the United States of America. We will all sit back home to talk about it. We will all sit in the land of Biafra to talk about days like this. We shall sit in the land of Biafra to tell our children what we passed through. Because the doubting Thomases will come. N'ihi na ụmụ ụfọdụ n'ime ha ndị awụsa tụrụ ime ha mgbe alụchara ọgụ.
I just separate it very soon.
They will never stop fighting us. And as long as we remain determined and focused, there is no way they will ever succeed.
Never.
If you stop now agitating for Biafra, those you left back home will die.
Yes.
So after making the last video I dropped on YouTube, the first video I dropped today on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I went on social media, entered Twitter and the rest of other social media, and I realized that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is actually trending. For the past how many months, there's been this call, this worldwide call, you know, and trend that has been happening on social media on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because everything he prophesied, you know, for years are now coming into limelight. See, one thing about prophecy is that, especially for most of you who don't believe it, when prophecy comes, it comes in beats, it comes in parts. You know, at times it comes like a proverb. You might not necessarily understand it, you know, but when it starts happening, it becomes clearer. It's just like you looking at a mirage. You're seeing a mirage. You know, you're driving on the road, you see something, you know, on the road that looks like an object, but it is actually a false object. It's when you now come closer to it, you know, you now realize that, oh, that thing is actually a mirage. It is not real. So when you come closer, it becomes clearer. When it starts happening, it becomes clearer. And that is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's prophecy has actually been all about. As the year comes, as the month goes by, it becomes clearer on daily basis. How can we be talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu today? Tomorrow it might be the Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. We know that there is an ongoing protest that will be coming up next month, I think May 5th, before his court hearing. You know, it's a worldwide protest that will be coming in Finland, and we will carry it all on social media also. Now, we're talking about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because he has predicted his release to be this April. He has seen it. He is actually optimistic about it because the big question is, what is still holding them from releasing him? So why don't we continue to make noise on social media? Why don't we use our platforms like these to advocate for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? So why can't I post and people continue to recreate and repost on social media on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? We are talking about the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ohamadike, one of Biafran land. It is only by this kind of advocacy that the voices of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be heard. And in other words, it will continue to create more awareness to the world to know that he is a prisoner of conscience. He's a prisoner of conscience. Why don't we create that awareness? Why don't we do the needful for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? This is the reason why you watching this video, you have to do the needful for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I love him, no be by mouth. Oh, Ohamadike, no be by mind. Listen and make it go viral. Let the world hear. Let the world know this trend. It's trending on social media, every social media except on YouTube. So why don't we share him here on YouTube? Why don't we advocate, raise our voice? See, one thing about advocacy and protest is not just by coming out on the street to agitate. It is a wide, you know, it is like reaching out to people worldwide, making them understand and making them know what you are agitating and fighting for. And the biggest platform for that is the social media platform, when you can win the heart of the people on the social media, it is easy for you to advocate for the world to know, your aim of fighting. It's as simple as that. Enjoy this one from Onyen Dumazanam the Khan.
Listen carefully, please.
If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman.
If you put them in a labor camp, if you take Igbo people in those days, Biafrans, I mean, anywhere they are, you put them in a labor camp, that's what he's saying, they will emerge as the headman. Why are they emerging? Is it not the same way that Joseph emerged in Egypt, in the house of Pharaoh, from nothing, to show that the blessing of God is upon these people? You cannot suppress. There's a saying where we come. You see the moon, your hand cannot cover it. It's blessing. It is called blessing. It is not domination. It's blessing from God. And that blessing is for the whole of Africa. Not just even for Nigeria, it's for the whole of Africa. The blessing that Biafra brings to the table is for the whole of the black world, wherever you have any black person residing. You cannot stop it. Nobody can stop it. That blessing from God, that is why a white man can see a Biafran laborer and say there is something in this man. Because of that, I'm going to make him the head man or the foreman of this company. Because the blessing of God is upon that man. The same way it is upon Israel. You cannot, it's a blessing from Elohim. You can't take it away. Instead of people to see this blessing, what they see is they are coming to dominate me. Do you understand it now? Zoological Republic. Are you following me this evening? I thought it's a very special broadcast. I want the world to understand. Because I know the US ambassador is listening, the UK High Commission, all of them are listening. I want to know it was Fulani that brought in hatred into Nigeria. Fulani. This is their master speaking. This is their progenitor speaking. Over 60 years ago. And all those things he said over 60 years ago are still prevalent today in the damnable Zoological Republic of Nigeria. Why do you hate them? They dominate. How are they dominating? If you put them in a labor camp, because at the time that this man was referring to, all the labor camps, all the factories were run by white people, by the British. And regardless of what you may say about them, those people, they know how to be even-handed. If you're hardworking, they'll promote you. These British people saw the blessing upon these people from the East, children of light, saw them. That was why Igbo people dominated the civil service, not because they wanted to, but because God's mercy and blessing was upon them. That is why they are hated. Not because they've done anything wrong. You hate them because God is with them. And no man can destroy it. This is a blessing from Elohim. They call it domineering and domination. Now you understand me, don't you? Do you understand now? The Igbo people are ancient people, very old, the oldest people on the face of this very earth. Bano, Ndibo, ancient, that's the meaning of it. Old people, old. The center of the world. That is why they occupy the center of the world. Zero longitude, zero latitude, the very center, the very beginning of life itself. God did not make any mistake by placing us there. I want all of you, both the Efulefus and those who are normal, who are listening to me this evening, to understand this very gift. The more we misuse this gift that God gave to us, the angrier God will be with us, and the more destruction we are likely to face. And there is only one solution to this problem: freedom. Because when freedom comes to Biafra, freedom will come to every black person on the face of this very earth. That is that thing that people see, and they say they're domineering. They are this, they are that. It's a blessing from God Almighty in heaven. Let us listen to Fulani Janjaweed. Why do you hate an Igbo man? If you place him in a labor, did you place an Igbo man in a labor camp? The time that we are referring to, it was the British who were in charge. It was the same white people that were picking Igbo people and making them foreman and headman, because the grace of Elohim is upon them. When you see them, the light of God is shining. That is why they give their children names like Ikechukwu, Chibueze, Nabisi. All of these names venerating Chinya, gift from God, Onyinyechi. Now you understand it, don't you? Uchechukwu Gemerere. When we answer all these names, we wear it on our forehead, but we don't know what it means. We answer Tamuno, we answer Obase, we answer Abase. It's on our forehead. We answer Olisa. We are so much loved by Elohim that even in the name of God we answer. Why shouldn't God's grace be upon us? Do you see why Biafra cannot be destroyed by any mortal? You see, it's indestructible. No matter how angry God is with us, he remembers his promise. He remembers the purpose for which Biafra was created. And that promise must come to pass, because the word of God said, instead of my spoken word not to happen, heaven and earth will come to pass. Upon that very authority do we stand to proclaim that Biafra must come. There is nothing that God cannot do. But to the ordinary person living in the flesh, to a mere mortal with a temporal mindset, you cannot understand it. It's only those of us in the spirit that can see it. You have to be able to discern what is happening, to be able to understand what Biafra means. Some people are running about shouting, Biafra, Biafra, they don't mean. They have no idea what Biafra means. You people is an example of the fulfillment of God's promise upon the lives of men. In other words, Biafra is beyond politics. Biafra is beyond what man can understand. Now you know why we answer Umu Chineke, the children of God in heaven, unashamedly. Why do you hate Igbo people? He said they are domineering. How did they dominate you? Because anywhere they go to, the grace of God is upon them. Even the white man will call them and ask them to head a factory. And then their brothers will come and they even receive more blessing and they become millionaires and they become billionaires in a land far removed from their own, because the grace of God is with them. God goes before them. That's the name they give to their children. Before we come to your land, God has already prepared it for us. Not to conquer you or to dominate you, but to prosper, that you also may prosper. Only if Africans can see this. Only if. Only if Africa can understand what Elohim intended to do with Biafra. Maybe one day they will. Let's listen to this Janjaweed.
If they go to a village,
yes,
to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area.
How? What do you call monopoly? Is it not the same monopoly that Dangote is having today? Do you know that in the USA, of course, we're going to take him to court in the USA. It's called antitrust laws in the USA. If you run any monopoly anywhere in the world, you will go to prison in the US for 25 years. No monopoly is allowed in the US. If you go, I think there was a report that came out a few days ago, making it very clear that Dangote is running a monopoly. The same people accusing us of monopolizing everything, they are the ones that monopolize pasta. They monopolize Indomie. They monopolize salt. They monopolize sugar. They monopolize cement. And now, finally, they have monopolized petrol as well, because only Dangote refinery will be working. I want people to reason, especially those that went to school from the South. I want to put your mind to this. They talk about monopoly to tell you that Fulani came with a game plan. In order to conquer, they feel they are like Lucifer, Satan, who will point to darkness. In order to conquer the light that is from the east, Biafran people, they turned everything on its head. They closed all the refineries that were working, and they now gave license to a Fulani man, only one man to refine petrol. They took away cement license from everybody, including Ibeto from the east. They gave it to Dangote. Only him can import cement. Only him sugar. Only him salt. Only him pasta. Only him Indomie, whatever you call it. Noodles. The same thing they're accusing other people of. And sometimes people shouldn't despair. When you have other tribes joining them, saying, Igbo man did this, Biafra this, Biafra that, don't blame them. The devil, anybody who rises up to castigate Biafra is a child of Lucifer, a child of Satan, and can never make heaven. I said it many years, it was just many years ago, a few years ago. Anybody against Biafra cannot make heaven. If you listen to this broadcast tonight, you will understand the reason why. We answer Chibozo. God goes before us to prepare a way for us. And then we come, and the grace and the blessing will be coming out in abundance. You won't understand it. It is not our own making. It's Elohim. We are his children. He must bless us. We can annoy him all we like, do all the things that we do. He will punish us, no doubt. But in the end, that blessing is there. It cannot go away. Because anytime God gives his blessing, he doesn't take it back. He's not man. Janjaweed, why do you hate Igbo people? Because they want to dominate. They are successful and God is with them. That's all. That was the reason why they killed 5 million people. And today, we are still talking about Biafra. Because Biafra is the promise of the Most High in heaven. Listen.
Put them in a labor camp
yes.
as a laborer. Within a year, they will try to emerge as headman of that camp.
They are not trying to emerge.
So on. Well,
God is with them.
In the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities.
In the past, the Fulani did not realize how to stop the Igbo man. Fulani did not realize how to stop Biafra. But now we have realized it. That is what they said over 60 years ago. That is what they're still doing today. You must pay attention, please.
Because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952,
they now have a northernization policy. I'm going to this thing is talking about happened in the late 50s, even before independence. Listen carefully. In the late 50s, before independence, that same thing is happening today. In a short while, I will show you how. It is called a Fulanization agenda, more like. All those years that Buhari was crying for losing elections, it was because he was saying that what their progenitor is saying, they wanted to finish this job of jihad by stealth, started by a descendant of Othman Danfodio. You are listening to the voice of the Sadwana of Sokoto. He should have been the Sultan of Sokoto, but because he was into politics, they gave him a special title, the Sadwana of Sokoto, and shipped him to Kaduna, where he was reigning, where he was the king. Now listen carefully. He said, we are now alive. This was the man that wanted to continue what his great-grandfather started. His great-grandfather is Othman Danfodio. He's a prince. That was why when they came into Delta, when they came into, what is it again? Into Delta, I want to remember what is wrong? Is it old age or what? I keep forgetting things these days. Opanam. When they got to Opanam, in Zogu's village, they killed every male child in Opanam, almost. Only those outside survived. Because this is a prince of the Sultanate. This is a prince of the Fulani Emirate. This is a direct descendant of Othman Danfodio, the man that defeated Hausa people and took their land. This is his great-great-grandson. You are listening to his voice. Othman Danfodio, that's the great-grandson. No, great-great-grand, I think it's 3 generations or thereabout before him. Either the great-great-grandson or the great-grandson, one of those. And an Igbo man killed him. That is their anger. But who wouldn't kill this idiot after listening to him? He sounds like a bandit. The banditry and terrorism is them. You can hear him. He sounds like a bandit. Like a bandit. Nzogu from Opanam in Igbo land. In Anyama. It was that man that killed him because Nzogu said, what you're saying, sir, is anti-Nigeria. That's all. That's why he was killed. I said, they killed all of our people. Look at how you reason. Do you see the reason why anybody fighting for one Nigeria is bound to end in misery and failure? Do you understand it now? Do you now understand it? Listen once again, please.
came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. And I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
All important posts are being held by northerners. This happened in late 50s in the north. Now Buhari in 21st century, or those ruling in his name because the idiot is dead, are now doing the same thing at a federal level. Northernization agenda, more like fulanization agenda. He said every important position is now held by northerners. And in a short while, I'll read through all the lists. Even today in 2021, every important position is held by a Fulani northerner. Do you see how they play their own game? But a Fulefu can never understand it. An ordinary Fulefu can never understand it. Let's listen.
Policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians, a temporary or permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first.
Northerner first.
If you can't get a northerner, then we...
If you cannot get a northerner, we hire a white man like yourself. He's about to say, if we cannot get a northerner, we hire a white. Not a fellow black man, not a fellow African, not Africa, let's unite. When I hear people saying Africa, let's unite, you see why I laugh at them? This is supposed to be a pan-Africanist. This is meant to be a man that fought for independence for his so-called country. He's meant to transcend tribe and religion. But here he's saying it is going to be a permanent feature. Permanent. Northerner first. And today it is happening. And I want to prove it to you that it's happening today. Zoological Republic. You must pay very close attention to what this man has to say. Very, very briefly. Then I will tell you why they have consistently, they groom people, they train them on that northernization agenda. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter who is in power. A northerner has to be the chief of army staff. A northerner has to be the chief of defense. Everything is north. Everything north. You see the reason why? They know what they're doing. Because they know that we are black people. After a while, we accept it as the norm. It can no longer offend our senses anymore. Do you see it? Do you see it? It didn't start today. This northerner first, this northernization, colonization started all the way in the 1950s, over 60 years ago. 60 years ago, over 60 years ago, it started. Give a Fulani one bag of rice and two teaspoons of sugar. He will sell his entire village. Ask Fulani to come and occupy it. Do you see why ESN has come? We are the first and the last line of defense against this rabid Fulanization agenda. Listen to him one more time, then I'll give you the proof.
Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Explain.
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. And I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first.
A permanent one.
If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself.
You take a white man, not black.
If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too.
On contract.
This is going to be permanent, I should say.
A permanent.
As far as I can
Fulani everywhere is permanent.
It would be rather
Over
dangerous
60 years ago.
to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
It might lead to bloodshed. There's something that's happening today. That's one thing he got right. that unemployment in the north will lead to bloodshed, which is where you have Boko Haram, Fulani Janjaweedism, Yetiala, you have Fulani headsmen, you have ISIS in West Africa, you have bandits everywhere. Is it not happening now? Everything, I give him credit, everything this man said is happening today. That's why I played this clip. Some of you have seen it many times over, but your brain can never digest or the magnitude of what this animal is saying. An animal he is. Now let me prove to you that what this man is saying is absolutely over 60 years ago. Somebody wrote, not me, the Fulanization of Nigeria. What this man said, our agenda is to make sure it is a northerner first, a Fulani first. Now listen. The Fulani oligarchy headquartered, look at the Sultan shedding his crocodile tears. That idiot, Sultan Sokoto, a complete fool, a complete idiot. He is shedding crocodile. Let's do something about one Nigeria. They know what they're doing. It's called deception, Takia. They know. There's some will play good cop, some will play bad cop. Today they will say, Iowa will say, we want referendum. Tomorrow another idiot to come and say, no referendum. They know they are playing with your mind, playing with your brain. That's what they're doing. Now, listen. Have you ever observed that the Fulani Caliphate, in collaboration with those they deceived with their Kanuri brothers, and to an extent Yoruba Muslims, how they have conquered Nigeria? Nigeria is Nigeria. I said all the Efulefus. I made one simple request. Go outside, just in a bar, anywhere in the world, and ask anybody, how do you see Nigeria? They'll tell you Nigeria is an Islamic country. Showing you that you've been conquered. All of you, what IPOB, ESN, Biafra generation is doing is to free you from your slavery that you don't know you are into. That is why anybody from the south, even me, talking about one Nigeria, I look at you as an animal because you don't know you're conquered. They have conquered Nigeria. They have captured the three arms of government, exactly what the descendant of Othman Danfodio said that they're going to do. But let me remind you that Othman Danfodio said they will dip the Quran in the Atlantic. He said, we will dip the Quran in the Atlantic. That's what Othman Danfodio said. Now his great-grandson came out and said, we want to dominate everybody by blaming the Igbos that come to dominate us. So we dominate everybody. And one wretched idiot from Niger Republic that the father used to tell dog, the father will buy dog. You know dog, Obobo, buy dog from villagers in Niger Republic and come to Daura to sell. On one of those trips, the idiot met the mother of Buhari and gave her one dog for free. And the next day, before you know how those things, it's like chewing gum and biscuit in those days, and the Fanta, soft drink with our women in the East. Chewing gum, you used biscuit, cabin biscuit, chewing gum, sweet. It's called hacks in those days. And a bit of Fanta. If you add Fanta, church abasa, Ibrulaba. The same thing happened. This man gave a bogo dog to Buhari mother. That's how they get back to Buhari. Dog or bogo in exchange. The idiot is not even a Nigerian. He's from Niger Republic. Buhari. Where is the president of the zoo from? Those that are ruling in his name, his Fulani, to tell you that their northernization first agenda is now complete. Totally complete, they have done it. Where is their president from? Fulani? Or should I say presidency? Because there's no president. Presidency is Fulani. Chief of Staff, Fulani. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Fulani. Senate President of Nigeria is Kanuri, of course, is Fulani. They're all the same. Deputy Speaker of the Senate is Fulani. The Army Chief of Staff is Fulani. Navy Chief Fulani. Police IG Fulani. National Security Advisor is Kanuri, of course, is some Fulani. Janjaweed. DSS is Fulani. National Intelligence Agency Fulani. Directorate of Intelligence, Army Intelligence is Fulani. Then listen to the ministries. I'm now reminded, go back to the voice of the man you heard a while back. Go back to it. Defense, Minister of Defense, Fulani. Minister of Finance, Fulani. So when they steal money, nobody can say anything. That's why somebody came out and said, Burata stole money. and their so-called presidency came out and said he didn't steal any money. They control everything. They can burn papers. That was why army headquarters was set alight, because of the loot, the stolen money. Buratai and the Fulani Janjaweed Mietiala, they never wanted the paper trail to lead to them. They burnt, they set the army headquarters on fire. That is what the Fulani do, and do it very well. Some of you may be too young. You don't remember somebody called Ibrahim Taher, the former Minister for Communication. His office was at the Nitel Tower in Lagos, in the Marina, Nitel Tower Marina. After stealing all the money meant for Minister of Communications, he set Nitel on fire. Go and check. That is how you know that Fulani have looted money. They set the building alight. Go and check. They set alight the Federal Inland Revenue Service in Abuja when they stole money from there. Now, Buratai as well set fire to army headquarters in Abuja. Is it very clear to you now how they roll? Zoological Republic. That is the reason why they need to put their people everywhere. Because for them to put Hope Uzodinma in power, they had to make sure that the Fulani man is the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Do you understand the trick? It's very simple. To make sure that they get their man as Ohaneze, President General, they need somebody they control in Imo State. You know, that they may be driving cattle up and down, but Britain is advising them very well. And they are listening. Are you following me? To put Hope Uzodinma there, the Minister of Justice, Onogen, was pursued, chased away from office in Abuja, chased away by Mieti Allah. And they put Otanko, Aeroplane Tonner, a man that read Sharia law, Chief Justice of a secular nation. That is why I think that Nigerians are mad. Believe you me, Nigerians are insane. Their brain is not correct. Somebody that studied Sharia law is the head of the judicial system of the secular nation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Federal Capital Territory, Fulani. Agriculture, Fulani. Police affairs, Fulani. Aviation, Fulani. We need to sing song with this now. Those who play music. Aviation, Fulani. Communication, Fulani. Power, Fulani. Water resources, Fulani. Humanity. Everything is Fulani. All the 19 northern governors are Fulani except Benue, Plateau, Taraba, and Kogi. Every northerner, apart from 4, the rest are all Fulani. And they are visitors, they are migrants, they are not indigenous to the place. Because Fulani have a game plan. From the word go, their game plan is to dominate and subjugate you. Dominate and subjugate. They are the ones who are the thieves. But they are busy pointing at people. Hey, EFCC, it is whereas Fulani, nobody steals more than Fulani does. They are kleptomaniacs. They are real highway robbers. After robbing, they point at somebody else. Oh, no, look at him. He's on investigation. And I asked Fulani, who stole more than what a Fulani man stole, Ohamadike? Ohamadike, when money had value, stole over £5 billion in a mobile bank and ran to England. True or false? Who stole more than Abacha? Who stole more than Buhari when he was alive? The missing suitcases, have you forgotten? All of you, have you forgotten? Do you know why Aisha Buhari cannot travel to USA? I went to USA. But the Fulani that claim that Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, they cannot travel to USA. They cannot. El-Rufai cannot go to the US. Has it ever caught any of you before to ask, why is it that Aisha cannot go to the US? They claim they are clean. They claim they are pure. Some idiots said there cannot be any looting under Buhari. Buhari is dead. All of you are criminals. Buhari was a criminal himself. How? You ask. Buhari, why is it that your wife Aisha, instead of hiding in America where Imelda Marcos was also hiding another looter like herself, why is she hiding in the UAE, in Arab country? Because Aisha Buhari was implicated in a fraud perpetrated by Halliburton, a US oil-based company. True or false? Was Aisha not indicted in America for stealing? How about Atiku Abubakar, Fulani? Can he go to the US? Of course, it was a RNG visit at that time. How much did Atiku Abubakar steal? He was a rogue, a certified criminal. Fulani are the ones looting the zoo. When they cannot loot unofficially, they loot officially through Dangote, who is a money launderer. He's not a businessman, he's a money launderer. Who doesn't know he's a money launderer? Obasanjo knows. All of you keep quiet. Because you're in the zoo. Because your brain cells are not working. People who came from Senegambia with their cattle